Hello, everyone. I'm going to give another minute or so to let a few more people join, and then we will get started. Hope that everyone's having a lovely Monday. All right, welcome everyone. My name is Carmen and I'm the training coordinator at the Temple Small Business Development Center. The Temple SBDC helps small businesses start and grow. We provide free one-on-one counseling and a variety of low to no cost webinars. And we are proud to be a part of the nationally accredited network of SBDCs with over 1,000 centers across the United States. You have joined us this afternoon for WordPress Intermediate. A copy of today's PowerPoint and a link to the recording of this session will be sent out to all attendees. And while all attendees have been muted, we encourage you to post any questions in the chat or Q&A. And now we'll turn the floor over to Sheila.
Thank you. Hi, welcome to Intermediate WordPress. The webinar today is being put on by Temple University Small Business Development Center, hosted by Temple's Fox School of Business. They've been serving the small businesses of Philadelphia, Eastern Montgomery, and Lower Bucks County since 1983. Our mission is to provide entrepreneurs and business owners the knowledge needed to make smart business decisions and to prosper. I'm Sheila Bishop, a business consultant with the SBDC. I have more than 35 years of IT experience, most recently as a VP of Monitoring Services Operations at Bank of America. I have a BA in Computer Science from Temple University, and I'm a dog owner and an inveterate knitter. So today we're going to be covering kind of the next steps you should take for setting up and productionizing your WordPress site. So we're going to be talking about SEO and talking about what SEO is. We're going to be looking into how you can improve your SEO for your WordPress sites by thinking about your SEO for your content, keywords, your URLs, your permalinks, your title tags, your meta descriptions. And then we're also going to be talking about Google Analytics, what it is, what it can do for you, how you set it up, and getting ready for issues as they occur by making sure you've backed up your website. So what is SEO? SEO in its most basic form is search engine optimization. It's the process of optimizing your website to increase your visibility to search engines, right? The crawlers that Google use and that Bing use, so that when people put a term in to their Google, the likelihood that they're going to find your site for that term if it's something related to your business. Thinking about your SEO and working to increase your SEO is crucial to improving the traffic to your website and improving your online presence. There are 4 key drivers for SEO: your site structure, your content, the time it takes navigating your site and loading your site, and links on your site, both the internal links from one page to another page or from your pages to your products, and external links. So one site linking back to you because you're the authority on a project or product, or because you have the best product in the area. And site structure has to do with like your domain name. Does it make sense for the business you're in? Your page titles, your title tags, your headings, all of those things, your keywords that you've thought about and used at your site, that all is your site structure. Your content is what you're presenting to your users. What does your text say? How well are you using your keywords in a natural way? It's readable, and using the best grammar and spelling. The content length, how fresh is your website, and the videos and the images you're presenting. And time, again, is your speed to load your pages, your image resolution, using the right image resolution with the right compression so that you have high quality videos, but not so large that it's slowing down your website. They say people will start backing out of a site or abandoning loading a site if it's more than 6 seconds, and that's pretty much the max. So think about that when you have your site. How long does it take to load your site? So how can you improve your WordPress site's SEO, right? Again, your site speed. Make sure you have optimized your images and that you've compressed compressed all your JavaScript and your style sheets, everything, that you've gzipped them and that you've mimified them. Make sure that you have your visibility settings set to yes. We'll get to that in another slide where you set that, but that's the setting in WordPress that says, do you want search engines to find you? You may, when you first set up your site, have set it to no while you were setting up your site, but make sure that you did not forget to turn that to yes. You also want to make sure you've submitted your sitemap to Google so that Google knows how to find you and has the right settings for your sitemap. You want to make sure you have internal links within your site. So if your about page is talking about, like if you have a clothing shop and in your about page, you talk about how you first got started by making the most fashionable jean jackets, that you link to a product page of your jean jackets. And if you have a blog posting about getting ready for winter and you have like an outdoor goods store, you link to, the page with your items for winter, that kind of thing that you're linking within your site. Again, you want to optimize your images for the right resolution, for the right size on your page, but you want to make sure that they're also at the right compression. It's mandatory anymore to use SSL, even if you're not transporting secure data across the line. Google really penalizes you for not using SSL. And there are a couple of plugins that will really help you with setting up your SEO on your WordPress site. Two of the ones that we've used and had good luck with are Yoast SEO and All-in-One SEO. And both have free versions that will definitely get you very far down the road of optimizing your SEO for your site. So how does content on your page affect your search rank? Google does, one of the ways is newness, is how fresh is your site, how often is your site have new data, new content, new images, new text. There are a lot of abandoned websites out in the internet, right? People who started a blog because they love to garden and then they lose interest. People who thought they would start a business and then again, time or money got away from them. And so the website's just kind of floundering there. So Google definitely penalizes a site that's just static and hasn't been updated. So make sure you're updating your content. And that's one of the reasons we will often recommend like blogs and that type of thing. So you have new content coming to your site on a regular basis, new content on your site. Text readability, making sure you use proper English, that it flows, it's readable, it flows, it's engaging, it tells a story. It's, like I said, grammatically correct, that you're using the right keywords, and that your content is about 1,500 words, not too long, not too short. And then the last one is image readability, which seems like an oxymoron, right? It's an image, how could it be readable? Well, Google's smart, but they're not so smart that they can yet see a picture, right? So image readability has to do with the back part of the background work that you need to do to define a picture. A lot of it has to do with like the alt tags that you set up for people who have low or no vision. So if they're using your site, can tell what that image is. But the crawlers also use that information. So captions, descriptions, alt tags, all of those things in the background that you set up about your picture is image readability. Yoast is a WordPress plugin. Yes, Yoast SEO is a WordPress plugin. We had a question. So that was, what is Yoast a WordPress plugin? Okay. So when we're thinking about our content and all these other ways to boost our SEO, we really need to keep our keywords in mind. But what is a keyword, right? So a keyword is, at its most basic form, the phrase that you would type into a search engine, right? And for, if you have a business, it's the phrase that you would think somebody would type into a search engine to find your business, right? So there's really two different kinds of keywords. There's short tail keywords, which are 1 or 2 words, and long tail keywords, right? So a short tail keyword might be stress, right? Stress you could go to Google and type in stress, and you would get all kinds of results, right? You might get something about massage and something about maybe even a trip that you could take to reduce your stress, or aromatherapy, or all kinds of things. But a long tail keyword would be something more like if you typed in low impact exercises to reduce stress, right? That gives you a much better understanding of what the person who's typing it in is trying to get to, right? And that's why it's saying it's much better at targeting a user's intent. And those are the kind you really want to, make sure you're thinking about when you're thinking about your business, right? You might want to have stress in there if your site's kind of targeting, if you're an aromatherapy business and you're targeting stress reduction, or an exercise business targeting stress reduction. But you really also want to think about those long tail keywords and making sure that you're really, going to be getting the right traffic to your site. Because if somebody's typing in stress who's interested in your aromatherapy, getting them to your site may or may not translate into business for you. So keyword research. Again, you don't want to just target the popular and obvious keywords, like my example about stress. And you want to create a list of topics for your business and the search terms that the customer might use in relation to those topics, right? So it is research, it is work, and it's not a one and done effort. It's not like you can do it today and then you're all done with your keyword research. And there's a few reasons for this. Your business is going to change, the world is going to change, even how we speak about things are going to change over time. So you need to make sure you keep this keyword research up to date and ever fresh, right? And there are keyword research tools that you can use to test your terms. And they'll also return other keywords that you may not have thought of that might be a great fit for your business. And when I was talking about some of the short-term and long-term long-tail keywords, some examples of short-tail terms would be like dog care, dog beds, dog boarding. And then long-tail terms might be long-term dog care for older dogs, orthopedic dog beds, and raincoats for poodles. And if you really specialize in raincoats for poodles and you want to corner that market, like, you definitely would want to keep those keywords in mind, because they're going to set you apart from, somebody who just has, dog wear kind of thing. And an example of some of the keyword research tools that you can use, there's the Google Keyword Planner. You do need to be kind of registered with Google and set up to be able to do the Google Keyword Planner. But it is a free tool. It's relatively easy to use, and there's not really limited on how many times you can use it or what kind of words you want to put in. Some of these other tools have like a free version and a paid version, and the free version, of course, has limitations because they want you to buy the pay version. But this is an example of using the same term in all of them, which is care for older dogs, and the results you would get for each of them. And like I said, the keyword tool IO, for the free version, you don't get quite as much data as you do for Moz and Google, because it's the free version. And for Moz, with the free version, you only get so many times a week you can do a search. I think we have a couple more questions. I don't know we have a WordPress bundle of suggested plugins, but it is definitely a good plugin. It's one of the top plugins, and keywords are not the same thing as hashtags. Keywords are, hashtags are something you're going to put in like your Instagram post, and they're probably just 1 or 2 words, and they're probably kind of funny and that type of thing. And they aren't necessarily what people would type into a Google search to find your business. Keywords are literally what you would think somebody would type into Google to find your business, right? You may have the same hashtag as you might a keyword, and you might want to use your keywords as hashtags, but you might also just want to put in like City of Brotherly Love as a hashtag if you're doing a Philadelphia promo in your Instagram, where you would not really want to make that one of your keywords unless you were somehow really affiliated with Philadelphia. Okay, another place we want to think about our keywords is in our permalinks or URLs, right? So WordPress actually sets a URL for every post and page that you set up in WordPress. And for And for the overall, you set the default by going into the WordPress menu settings and permalinks and saying like what the default structure you want the permalinks to be, but that can be overridden for any post or page. So if for a particular post or page, what the default would be wouldn't really capture the keywords that you would like associated with that page or post, you can actually override that setting over to the right and include the keywords that you think would make more sense. And again, make it readable, make it make sense, because if you're going to give somebody that URL, you want it to be a URL that they're probably going to remember or that makes sense to them. But this is another area where it will reflect in your SEO settings if you're really thinking about what these permalinks and these URL the keywords that are being used in there. Now, hopefully you've given thought to the titles, because hopefully you've made your site settings to be the kind of the title for your pages and your post, and that would be hopefully your H1 tag on those pages and post, which is also good for your SEO, getting those keywords in your H1 tags. So hopefully you wouldn't need to override them because you already put those keywords in there. But if for some reason you wanted to have kind of, like I said, a more jokey title, but you wanted to make sure the keywords were in the URL, you could override it and make sure that those are in there. Another place that you need to really think about using your keywords are in your title tags. Now, your title tags are not something you're going to see on the screen. There are behind the screens, kind of like the alt tags when I was talking about the images and the captions that were kind of behind the scenes for the images. Title tags are also behind the scenes, not really visible to the customers who are coming, the clients who are coming to see your site. It tells the search engines what the topic of your page is, right? And they shouldn't exceed 70 characters, because Google, when things start to get long, it decides it's going to just kind of ignore what you've said. And you can't just keyword pack them, because again, Google just says, oh, somebody's trying to trick me. And after it used to work, right? It used to work, you could just keyword pack it. Like if you were a clothing manufacturer, you can make it like best shirts, best pants, best ties, best, that could be your title tag, and your SEO might go up. But now you would actually get penalized for that. Because Google put out a release a few years ago called Penguin, if I'm not mistaken, that started to try to do natural language recognition. And now it tries to read it to see if it's actually written in kind of English, something that you could read aloud, say aloud, and have it make sense. And if it's not, then you don't get points, even if you put all the keywords in there. So it should be in clear English with the keywords towards the front. You should write it, as naturally as you can, and don't repeat the words just to try to boost the SEO, because it probably will backfire. A meta description kind of goes along with that title tags in a way. It's an HTML tag that provides a brief summary of your website. Hopefully this will be what shows up when somebody does, like if they do a site search for your website and there's that brief description underneath, hopefully what you'll see is your meta description, and you kind of controlled what people will read about your website. I say hopefully because Google sometimes overrides it if for some reason its crawlers just, when it gets back from the crawlers, it decides that your meta description does not match what its crawlers is saying about your website. So again, that's why it's important to write everything, in English, thinking about your keywords and getting your keywords in there, but in a natural English way. Because like I said, that's Google for you, right? It gives you room for like 1 or 2 sentences, 160 characters. You can have a 300 character meta description, that's fine. But the first, 160 characters, the first sentence or 2 is most critical, because that's what's going to show up in that search result. It should give people a compelling reason to visit your site with a clear call to action, right? So it should be something like, best dog treats in the world, or, just explaining why your site is the right site to come to. You should include your target keywords. You should avoid duplicating that meta description across all your pages, right? You should make that meta description unique for each of your pages. Just like each of your pages is unique, that meta description should be unique. And like I said, those good ones will increase people actually clicking on you and going to your site when they come up in the Google search results. Okay, I don't think we have any questions right now. So I'm going to do a little demo of setting up title tags and descriptions in Yoast SEO. Does anyone have any questions before we do that? No? Okay. Over here. Now, if anybody was with us for the last webinars, you will be familiar with my pretend dog care site, Doggy Tales. All right. Say hello, doggies. So today we're going to set up some meta descriptions for our homepage and for the About Us page. Okay. So we're going to go over here to pages. And if you look down here, well, we can see in two places, right? We go to plugins. You can see I have the Yoast SEO there. And we can also see under here that I have Yoast SEO. But we're going to set it up through pages. And you can also set up your Yoast, your SEO information for your post and other things on your site. But we're just going to do it today for our pages, and we're going to start with the About Us page. So here's our About Us page, and it looks good. But if we go down here, we can see that our SEO analysis is red, and if we look, it'll tell us why, right? It'll say that we don't have any outbound links. We don't have a key phrase in there. We don't have a meta description, and we don't have a text link, and we don't have any key phrases in our image, but our image is good, and we have an internal link, and our title width is good. Okay, well, that's good. We have some good things, right? So if we look up here, we can see that we did put a link here for when we say train. It'll take us to our page that talks about dog training. So that's good. So the one thing it told us we didn't have was a focus keyword. So let's take care of that. And I did some keyword research earlier. And the phrase I'm going to use is dog care center, right? Because we're talking about our dog care center. And we're also going to come down here and we're going to go to our title. Now, Yoast SEO will set up a title for you so that you have a title, and it's not a terrible title, right? So if we look right now, we can see what our title is. And our title is Edit Us, Doggy Tales, WordPress. It's not really that good, right? So we're gonna change that. Because that's what it's saying is our title is title, page, separator, which is a bar, and site title. So we're gonna get rid of these guys. And we're going to set up our own title that we came up with. And we're going to make it about doggy care tales, dog care services in Philadelphia. So we tried to get that keyword dog care services in our title tag. So it says, oh, we did pretty good, right? And our slug is about us. We probably could also change our URL, right? Because our URL is just about us, but we're not going to do that today. So, and our meta description, we're going to set to Doggy Tales is the area's premier dog care company. We offer dog dog daycare, dog boarding, top priority dog care products, and dog training. Contact us today to learn more about our services. So try to get some more keywords in and then give a call to action, right? Contact us today to learn more about our services. Okay. And then we'll see.
Sheila, we have 2 questions in the chat.
Let's change this one because it's saying that, okay, let me change this to center because it's saying our keyword's not showing up in our title. Okay, what are the questions?
Troy is asking, where/how are you seeing this? Is this via a plugin?
Yes, it's the Yoast SEO plugin, and this is the free version of the Yoast SEO plugin, not the premium version.
Okay, and someone else is asking, my WordPress site is hosted on GoDaddy, and when WordPress gets updated, my site malfunctions. Can you recommend other hosting sites?
Yes, we have a few that, you know, we've had some that we've had good luck with, like Bluehost and SiteGuard and I think DreamHost have all worked pretty well for us in the past. So, okay, so that's how you would set your title and your description. And if you look, we didn't fix all of our issues, but now we've gotten a lot more green than we did before, right? And so you could walk through all of these. Like I said, I changed the services to center because it said up here, you were saying that your focus key phrase was dog care center, but you didn't have it in the title because I had dog care services in Philadelphia. So then I changed it to dog care center, right? So you can just kind of go through this and say, okay, what else is it telling me? What else should I kind of take a look at? And then, you know, that'll help bump up your SEO. Any questions on that?
We're looking pretty good.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so we're going to do the same on our home page just to hit update because I'm notorious for not hitting update. I don't think you're actually due for this, but just to be on the safe side because I've lost more changes by not hitting update. So go to home. And same thing, we'll go down here. And like I said, this is the free Yoast SEO. The other ones will look different, right? If you do the all-in-one SEO, it'll look different, but it's the same kind of idea, right? What kind of keywords do you want to focus on? Setting your title tag, setting your meta description, and then working through the other SEO kind of suggestions on the site. So here we have kind of the same thing. Catchphrase, we didn't set a catchphrase. We don't have a meta description. We don't have the text, right? They like our images and our title width is good. So we are going to give it a focus key phrase. And for this one, we're going to be a little bit more generic because it's our home page. And we're just going to say dog care. So this is more of a short tail, right? Remember I said about short tail keywords. So because it's our home page, I'm just kind of going with a short tail keyword. And we'll give it a title. Let me just overlay that. Let me get rid of that. And give it a meta description. And if you didn't use any kind of plugin, you can still set a title tag and still set a meta description. You just have to do it through your HTML, which is never any fun, right? So again, you can see we've got more green images now, right? It says we're using that we haven't used this key phrase before, so we're doing good. Our key phrase length is good. Our images are good. Right, so and it's giving us some more suggestions for what we can fix. It's saying our text is minimal, which is true on our homepage. We're not really going for a lot of text on our homepage, right? We're doing more about our products and stuff. So you don't have to do everything it says, right? You might look at one and say, yep, that's right, that's how I want it, right? So, it's making suggestions. You don't have to follow all of them if that's what you're going for, right? But it's just something to be aware of, that to say, okay, yep, I see what you're saying, but that's what I was going for anyway. Okay, so that's how you would set your title tag, and your meta descriptions using Yoast SEO. Okay. Okay, so that we can say goodbye to our dog friends at Doggy Daycare at Doggy Tales today, and we'll go back to our presentation. Oh, we're back to the beginning. I thought I had that licked. Okay. Okay. So do we have a couple more questions?
Yes. Why does a WordPress website need to be hosted through another site?
If you go through WordPress.com, right, it does not, because if you're going through WordPress.com, you are buying, you're paying for both the hosting and the content management system together. But WordPress is a open source solution where the WordPress.org code is free, and you basically buy a hosting solution from one of these other companies, and then you install WordPress on them, right? You don't necessarily have to. You can set up your own hosting site. You can buy some computers and install a database, Apache database, and I forget what else you have to do with Apache database, and then you have to have middleware, right? But the hosting platforms do that for you. But the idea is there's two different, and if you watch on YouTube my WordPress for Beginners 1, it kind of goes into what's the difference between WordPress.com and WordPress.org. But that's the difference, is that WordPress.com is both the hosting and the content management system in one, and WordPress.org is the content management system, but you have to buy separate hosting.
Okay, thank you. Next question. I have Yoast standard, but don't see that Yoast section under my pages. Is there some setup required?
You have Yoast SEO, or Yoast, a lot of these tools have many products they sell. So if you don't, you may have a different Yoast plugin, but not Yoast SEO.
Okay, last question. How do I upgrade to Google Analytics 4?
Okay, that just came out, right? Everybody's getting that email about Google Analytics 4. There's directions in there. All you so we're going to kind of talk a little bit about Google Analytics here. Basically, same way you set up Google Analytics Universal, you got a tag. You just need to do the same thing for Google Analytics 4, and we can talk about that. Okay, so Google Analytics, it's a tool, right? If you ever had an audit done by us, we always recommend that you use Google Analytics, right? Because it's a tool that collects your user information and how your users are interacting with your websites. And so what does it show you? It shows you who's been using your websites, how long they stay, where did they go on your site, where are they coming from, and are they new or returning users? The first thing you need to do is for installing Google Analytics, is you need to create a Google Analytics account. And that creates a data stream from your website. And it'll give you a Google Analytics tracking code and a global site tag. And the global site tag gets copied in the header section of your HTML. Now, if you're already running Google Universal, and you need to go to the Google version 4, or whatever they're calling it, you don't need to set up this Google Analytics account. You already have it, right? So what you do need to do, and you should have gotten instructions, an email with instructions, you need to go back into your Google Analytics account and get a new tag and global tracking code for Google Analytics 4. And then you need to basically go back to your website and do that same hooking up of that tag and code back to Google Analytics. That's basically what you need to do. And I don't know, depending on how you did it, right? So that's the first part. For anybody who doesn't have Google Analytics at all, the first part is creating that Google Analytics account, right? Which, like I said, creates a data stream for your website. And you need to get the tracking code and the global site tag. And then there's 3 main ways you can then connect your website with Google Analytics, because now you've told Google that you want to start collecting the analytics, and they've given you a tag with the unique identifier number, and the identifier numbers for the 4 version versus the universal version start with different letters and numbers, right? So you've gotten the tag, and they've given you a piece of code, so you can install it now 3 different ways. You can go in and do it manually, go into your HTML and do it manually, which doesn't sound like much fun to me. You can use a plugin such as WP Code Headers and Footers plugin and use that to install it because it needs to go in your header. Or you can use Monster Insights, which is one of the most popular analytical plugins, which simplifies the process of installing Google Analytics. There's no need to add any code. Well, you will be adding code because Monster Analytics will do it for you, but you won't need to add that code into your HTML. And there are free and premium versions, and the free version is enough to get Google Analytics started. And Monster Insights knows that there's a universal version and knows there's a version 4 version and is set up to connect both of the either or both of those if you choose to go that route. So I hope that answered the person with the question from the email that came out, and I hope it helped people who are just getting started with Google Analytics. Okay, so we're going to move on to all the great things you can do for your website, right? Get your SEO going and getting your data and knowing where people are going and which pages they're going to when things go wrong, right? And things will always go wrong. So why back up your site, right? And there's kind of 4 main reasons, right? The one is human error. People make mistakes. You know, all of us make mistakes. You know, one of the smartest people I've ever worked with would always talk about the 1-line code change that brought down like a major system. You know, you think you're making just the slightest little change, and next thing you know, 12 hours later, the system crashes. You can also have plugin or theme corruption. A lot of times those are caused by the next item on there, which is an update causing issues, right? So maybe the update gets halfway through, something happens, and now your site's been corrupted. And the last one is, of course, the worst one, which is malicious actor or malware. So what do you need to back up on your site, right? You need to back up your WordPress files, right? Your themes, your plugins, your images, the media from your site. And then you need to back up the WordPress database itself. Because again, if you're working with a CMS, you may not even realize there is a database, but there is a database back there. And that database contains your blog post, your product data, your page content, any comments people have made for your site, form submission settings, any of that kind of active data that's come into your site since you've started your site. And then the next question is, well, okay, you've convinced me I need to back up my site. I now know what I need to back up. Well, how often should I back up my site? And that really depends on how quickly the data on your site changes, right? If you only have a blog that updates weekly, then maybe weekly is the answer. If you have someone that, you just put a podcast out monthly, maybe monthly is the answer. But if you have a very active website where you're doing hourly sales, then, definitely daily incremental backups. You may even want to look to some of the tools that can do, iterative backups during the day, because really the question is, how much data can I afford to lose? And really one of the most critical things you need to do is take a point in time backup before there's any changes to the site. If you're going to update if you're going to make a major update to your site or anything like that, take a backup. And if you're going to make that change and you say to yourself, well, our weekly backup, it's Friday and our weekly backup occurs on Thursday, so I don't need to back it up. don't rely on that. Take the backup, take the point in time backup. I've seen it happen more than once where people relied on the scheduled backup, made a change, had something go wrong, and then that weekly they've scheduled backup didn't run, was corrupted, couldn't be retrieved, and now they're trying to piece back their application or whatever from a backup from 2 weeks ago and whatever they can whatever data they can put back in. It only takes a little bit of time. You're going to make a major change to your site, put a new theme in production, something like that. Take a point in time backup of your site. So, okay, so now we know what we need to back up. We know how often we need to back it up. How many backup copies should we keep? The United States Computer Readiness Team recommends the 3-2-1 backup rule, which is that you have 3 copies of your WordPress site. You have the live site that's up and running, and then 2 backups with 2 different media and 2 different locations. And that way, if your house floods, you don't lose both backups. If if something else happens, you're just increasing the chances that you can always get your site back. And, so just store one remotely, up in the cloud, and have one locally on a hard drive. That works fine. And what can you use to back it up? Since these are files in database, you can manually back them up using database tools and copying files. Again, that's the hard way. And then there are tools that can help you. There's Updraft Plus, which has a free and premium version. There's Jetpack Backup and Backup Buddy. Each of them kind of has their own special flavor to backing it up. And I've given you the links to the different sites so you can take a look and see which one would most fit your business. Some of them are better for like those people who have a lot of sales data that's changing constantly. And Updraft, if you're kind of a more less changing, website, maybe the free version would suit you fine. So we went over a lot of data today, and it's a lot to take in. So I've given you some additional resources on the topics we went over, so you can follow up offline and hopefully improve your website, get it up there in the ranking in Google, and have it all backed up and be able to see all your data. So are there any additional questions that I can answer today?
We are looking pretty good in the chat. I am sending a link in the chat to a quick survey. It takes less than a minute to complete about today's webinar. We really value your feedback, and it is required by our funders. So if everyone could just take a moment to fill that out, we would be very appreciative. And I will give another minute or so for some more questions if anyone has any.
If anybody has any questions or thinks of any, feel free. Thank you again for attending today. I always enjoy even virtually meeting with everyone. And again, this webinar was put on by the SBDC. We have a lot of services at the SBDC, not just these webinars for small businesses, individual counseling and information about financing and loans. We have additional resources and training. There's the QR code on the screen that you can scan, or when you get the presentation, you can scan it. And if you have any questions, you can feel free to contact us at any of this information, or feel free to scan the QR code for our newsletter.
All right, thank you so much, everyone. And just as a reminder, I saw a question in the chat. A recording will be sent out in a follow-up email to everyone. We hope you enjoyed these resources, and I hope everyone has a great rest of their week. Thank you, Sheila.
Thanks everyone. Bye-bye.